what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.
What I want to touch on today is the mass shootings that's running rampant in the United States over the past 2 decades. From Columbine to Sandy Hook to Pulse nightclub to Las Vegas, and just recently the Molson Coors brewery headquarters in Milwaukee. And keep the families of the victims in your thoughts and prayers, because that was a sad, senseless tragedy. You know, who were Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold? You know, why did they do what they did? Together, these young men were brought to the world's attention when they laid siege to Columbine High School the morning of April 20th, 1999. Before that day, they were just a couple of normal American high school seniors, only 2 weeks away from graduation. So those who knew them believed for well over a year before the shooting, the 2 teen boys had been making plans to attack the school and the people in it, according to what they said in their hate-filled journals and videos they left behind. They wanted to take revenge on the people they accused of picking on them and snubbing them. More than that, they wanted to destroy the school. There was a lot of controversy over the journals, notebooks, and plans written by Eric and Dylan regarding the assault on Columbine. A lot of misinformation was leaked, and a lot of press circulated and treated it as fact before anyone had seen the actual diaries firsthand, save the people who found it and the officers who confiscated it. It was nearly too impossible to decipher truth from fiction, like many other aspects of the tragedy. Figuring everything would take years. In November of 1997, Dylan penned out a fantasy about getting a gun and going on a killing spree. Most of his entries had less to do with wanting to hurt people apart from himself, more to do with not understanding why the world and his peers refused to give him the attention and affection he so badly craved. He was a very deep depressive person. You know, he had very severe depression. He seemed to hold himself largely at fault for being on his level of intelligence. In order to find common ground with him, in April of 1998, at the end of their junior year, Harris and Klebold received their copies of the Columbine High School yearbook. A year before the rampage, Dylan made 4 entries in Eric's yearbook. One entry referred to the holy April morning of NBK. They idolized the movie Natural Born Killers. They idolized Mickey and Mallory. And they had code words set up for the massacre at the school. NBK was a code word for Natural Born Killers. Another entry says, in part, killing enemies, blowing up stuff, killing cops, and this is what Eric Harris said. My wrath for January's incident will be godlike, not to mention our revenge on the jocks in the commons. The commons was basically the lunchroom, and what he's referring to as the January incident. Him and Dylan got arrested for breaking into a van and stealing a bunch of stuff out of it, and instead of sending them to jail, which would have averted this whole ordeal, they put them on diversion, and they had them each write a full-page apology letter. Well, they each did it, and coming off to seem genuine and sympathetic and sorry. Well, on his vlogs, Eric Harris actually made the comment, why should I be sorry for some stupid mother effer who leaves his van unlocked in a parking lot? That's just inviting people to break into it. I can't wait to kick off natural selection. Their revenge in the comments happened on April 20th, 1999, when the revenge in the comments happened. The school shooting, actually what it started out to be, was a bombing. Eric and Dylan made pipe bombs and propane bombs, and they were going to set a bomb off in the cafeteria, which they called the Commons. And when kids started running out of the cafeteria, and they were going to pick them off. Well, when the bomb in the cafeteria failed to detonate, Plan B was to shoot the school up. And Eric actually looked at Dylan and said, Plan B. And Eric and this gentleman by the name of Brooks Brown never really got along. They were on again, off again friends. And the day of the shooting, Brooks Brown approached Eric and basically chastised him for missing second hour. And Eric says, Brooks, I like you now, go home. And that wasn't the only one that they spared that day. They spared another kid by the name of Sean Savage. They called him Screech. When they were massacring everybody in the library, he was hiding under one of the library tables. And when they came across him, they told him to get out from under the table and run. He was safe to go. He was safe to leave. And I want to touch on the Molson Coors Brewery headquarters mass shooting. That was a tragedy. 5 people lost their lives that day. For a senseless reason. 5 people killed after an employee opened fire at the Molson Coors headquarters in Milwaukee on Wednesday. Police said it is a terrible day for Milwaukeeans, and I pass on my condolences to the families of the employees, Morales said Wednesday night. Identities of the victims were not released Wednesday because some of the family members were coming in from out of town, Morales said. The shooter was identified by Morales on Thursday as Anthony Farrell. The chief, who did not give a motive for the shooting, said no one else was injured. By 9:30 on Wednesday night, the scene had been secured and all employees had been allowed to go home. Morales said there are 20 buildings on the beer company's sprawling campus, and there were more than 1,000 employees at the Milwaukee headquarters. Chief Executive Gavin Hattersley said in a statement, there are no words to express the deep sadness many of us are feeling right now. And Hattersley said, the most important thing is that we support and care for each other. October 1st, 2017, 58 were killed in Las Vegas, Nevada. 64-year-old Stephen Paddock sprays gunfire on a crowd of 22,000 concert goers from the 32nd floor of Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. And what I think is messed up is I can't remember who was performing that night, but when he saw the shooting taking place, instead of yelling at the concert goers to duck and take cover, he runs off the stage like a little bitch. And he wanted to save himself instead of helping save other people. June 2016, Omar Mateen, 29, opens fire inside Pulse, a gay nightclub in Orlando. At least 49 people are killed and more than 50 are injured. Police shoot and kill Mateen during an operation to free hostages that he was holding hostages that day. April 16, 2007, Virginia Tech, a 23-year-old student, goes on a shooting spree, killing 32 people in 2 locations and wounding an undetermined number of others. Now, the Virginia Tech shooter, he was actually professed that he looked up to Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. Yeah, and he idolized them. Yeah, he wanted to try to outdo them. Yeah, as far as Columbine goes, he wanted the Virginia Tech shooting to be bigger than Columbine. December 12, 2012, Sandy Hook Elementary School. Adam Lanza, 20, guns down 20 children ages 6 to 11, and 6 school staff. A lot of people say that Sandy Hook is a conspiracy. Sandy Hook was an inside job from our government. Sandy Hook didn't exist, and you tell that to the parents of the 6 children that were murdered that day. I mean, 6-year-old little kids murdered. 11-year-old kids murdered. The United States needs stricter gun control laws. They need at least a 7-day waiting period, a more strenuous background check, and not just a criminal background check, but a mental health history background check. If you want to own a gun, go. I think one of the prerequisites. Yes, I stuttered. So what? Is a psychological evaluation to see if you're sane or loony as a tune. Because if you're loony as a tune, you don't need to own a gun or a rifle or a shotgun or an assault rifle. And that's just it. Why would you want an assault rifle that shoots 10 bullets per second? Why would you want to own a gun like that? That type of gun is built for mass murders and mass shootings. And I'm going to touch a little bit on the politics side. Mr. Bernie Sanders, the Democratic presidential candidate, he actually voted no on the Brady bill. He voted no on extra extra background check. He voted no. Is that a type of person you want in the freaking White House? Someone that's going to shoot down a bill that will actually save lives? And a bill that will make it more rigid when it comes to owning a firearm? Is that the type of person you want in office? Uh, the definition of mass shootings varies, but is generally defined by 4 or more deaths in one location by a lone gunman, or in a few cases such as Columbine and San Bernardino. 2, although each of these mass killings are idiosyncratic. They often share many features, including but not limited to the most obvious, which bears repeating: their use of guns, their use of high-power rifles. And Eric and Dylan couldn't even get their own guns. They had to have a friend of theirs get the guns for them. Oh my God, the America's going to hell in a handbasket. Yeah. Columbine wasn't the first mass shooting. There was a shooting down in Texas in the 60s. A gentleman that was on the Texas Tech, I believe it is, clock tower, plucking people off. Mass shootings go back to the late 40s, all the way up to the mid to late 60s. And they've just escalated over the last 20, 30 years because our government won't do crap when it comes to limiting the acquiring of guns. I have a friend of mine. His parents has 4 gun cases in their house, and each gun case is loaded down with rifles and shotguns and pistols. And I asked him the other day, why did your parents have so many guns? Oh, just in case there's another civil war, that way they can defend themselves. And if there's another civil war, they're writing the names down of people that they don't like or has wronged them, so they can go over and shoot them in the face. I'm like, well, wouldn't that be considered murder? And he goes, so it'll be during the Civil War. There will be no law. There was 127 mass shootings with 874 victims in the United States between 1966 and 2016. An average of 7 deaths, and nearly all were white men. Only 3 of the 130 shooters were women. A New York Times report titled "How Often Does a Mass Occur in an Average America?" The averages is every day records show. Every day there's a brand new mass shooting. Every day they drop the ball when it comes to getting assault type weapons off the streets. I have a 5, she'll be 5 on Monday. I have a 5-year-old that goes to school, and what's going to stop somebody with a mental illness from walking into her school and shooting it up? What's going just like back in 2017, there was a shooting in a Walmart when a gentleman walked into Walmart because he had just got dumped by his girlfriend, and she was in Walmart with her new boyfriend, and he walked in and started shooting everybody. And one of the bullets hit a pregnant woman, killed her unborn child. And then it came out later that he suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. People with that type of mental illness does not need to own any type of weapon. And yes, there's a lot of Second Amendmenters out there. They can take my gun when they pray for my cold dead hand. Just because the Second Amendment is right to bear arms doesn't mean it gives an insane person the right to go into a school and shoot it up. I mean, hell, Eric Harris was on a drug called Luvox because he was bipolar, and one of the side effects of Luvox uh, made him hear voices, and his his dad was in the military, so they moved around a lot. And I found out that one of the places they lived at when he was 12 years old was my hometown of Wichita, Kansas. Eric Harris lived there from, at 12 years old. And at 13, his dad was transferred from the air base in Wichita to an air base in Littleton, Colorado. Right? You have a lot of people blaming the parents and everything else. Oh, you should have checked their rooms. You should have searched their rooms. Well, with Dylan Klebold's parents, they were more clinical when it came to children. They didn't give their kids hugs. They didn't say good job. I mean, or anything like that. They treated their children like they were like they were psychologists. Instead of being parents, they were psychologists to their kids. And Dylan actually was going to go to college after he graduated. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold both had mental conditions. And when you put those two together, it was like the perfect storm of chaos. Yeah. Dylan had friends. Eric didn't have no friends. Dylan felt sorry for Eric, so he became his friend. And it was actually Eric who was feeding all that negativity, all that hate into Dylan. Like, their favorite game to play was Duke Nukem. They played it apparently they played it every night. And Eric's one of the comments Eric made was, too bad this isn't like, too bad this game isn't based in Columbine. I'd have fun shooting everybody, if this game was based in Columbine. Because Eric and Dylan, they were, in the social hierarchy of the school. You had the jocks, you had the preps, Eric and Dylan were like pond scum in the social hierarchy. They were like literally pond scum in the social hierarchy. People would pick on them, and they just accepted the fact that they were nothing to the people at the school, because you had your jocks, you had your preps, you had your your little rich kids, and see, I was picked on in elementary school, but I was I became popular in junior high school and high school, because in high school I hung out with the stoners, the smokers. Basically, I became popular with the dregs of society. But anytime I needed something, somebody always had my back. Always had my back. And I just found out the other day that a former schoolmate of mine from elementary all the way up to high school, I just found out that he was shot and killed about a year ago. I did not know nothing about it. I was talking to a very good friend of mine who I've known practically all my life, and he was telling me, "Hey, did you hear what happened to so and so?" I'm like, "No, what?" He goes, because I was asking if he talked to him how he was doing. He goes, "Dude, you didn't hear about so and so?" I'm like, "No." He goes, he was shot and killed last year. I'm like, huh? He goes, yep. Uh, it was over. What did he say? He walked in and caught his wife cheating, and and the guy that she was the guy that she was cheating on him with, uh, had a gun laying on the bed, and when he walked in, and the dude set up and shot him because he thought he was an intruder, but no. The dude's serving a hard 50 now because, yeah, the wife, I guess, come to find out, the wife actually set it up to where, her new boyfriend would murder her husband because, she got tired of her husband, because he wasn't a bad boy anymore. She got 20 years and the dude got a hard 50. But it just goes to show you, there's a shooting almost every day, whether it be premeditated, whether it be, you know, like the Columbine killers, they planned it for almost 2 years. Yeah. They built pipe bombs. They built bombs. And if Eric actually knew how to build a propane bomb, the one that didn't detonate in the lunchroom, if he would have built it properly, it would have, like, literally the size of the propane bomb, it would have wiped out the entire cafeteria. That's how big that propane bomb was. And I don't know if a lot of you people saw, the clips of him shooting at something. He was shooting at the bomb, trying to get the bomb to go off. So that way he didn't have to shoot himself. He would have the bomb do the work. Yeah, I mean, I still think about people that was lost in Columbine. I watched a movie the other night called I'm Not Ashamed, and it's basically the movie on Rachel Scott's life and what she went through at the school and everything else, and how Eric and basically Eric. The day they shot the school up, and they shot Rachel and her friend. Her friend's still alive, but he's paralyzed from the waist down. Eric walked up to Rachel and put a gun to her head, said, "Where's your God now? Do you still believe in God?" And she said, "You know I do." And his last words were to her, "Then go be with him," and pulled the trigger. That was just heinous and callous. I mean, hell, why would you walk around a school with a shirt that says natural selection? Going around, and they killed a poor retarded kid that didn't know what was going on. He was sitting there doing his homework on the computer, didn't know to get down to the table, and they just walked up, bloom, and shot him. But what this world needs is stricter gun control laws. Get rid of all the assault type weapons, all the automatic weapons, the semi-autos, and they need to put a more stricter waiting period on it. A very strict waiting period, like I said before. A psychological evaluation waiting period.
I can't breathe.
Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be on here probably tomorrow night. Peace.
Rub me like a Hellcat.